This guy went scorched earth when he discovered his girlfriend was cheating on him with a close friend. The way he got revenge is genius.
Here's a little background of my life before all the drama began. I work in telecommunications and was offered a promotion that required extensive travel around the state. I requested to have an office in my hometown's branch to serve businesses there, and my request was granted. We established a routine of 1 to 2 weeks in the city office, 1 week in my hometown, and 1 to 2 weeks visiting other areas of the state. After a year, I purchased a house in my hometown to avoid staying at my parents' place during my visits, and to have more flexibility in coming and going as needed.
Traveling for work can be difficult at times, especially if you have family relying on you at home. It sounds like you don't have any family commitments or anything to worry about, so that makes it easier.
After returning from a trip, I bumped into Harry, the managing director of the branch where my hometown office was. We were childhood friends. He invited me to a house party that evening, and I agreed, looking forward to a relaxing time with friends. At the party, I met Catherine, a new hire at the branch, and we instantly connected.
That's good of Harry to look out for you like that and invite you out to socialize and meet people. He seems like a good friend who has your back.
Catherine became my girlfriend. After dating for 2 years, she moved into my house, and everything seemed to be going well. My parents and Catherine got along, and things were smooth for almost a year. However, things started to change. Skype sessions were abruptly cut short, and neighbors mentioned seeing a car similar to Harry's parked nearby whenever I was away. I also found clothes in my wardrobe that didn't belong to me. Although signs pointed to her cheating, she denied it, claiming Harry only visited for business discussions. I tried to ignore my suspicions, but the feeling that something was wrong persisted.
I take back what I said about Harry having your back. It seems more likely he's stabbing it instead. If the car that was seen truly was his, then that means chances are he's been porking your girlfriend while you're away.
About 6 months later, I discovered she had been lying to me. After closing a big contract early, I returned home to surprise Catherine. On arriving, I found Harry's car blocking the entrance, and when I approached the back of the house, I saw them through the window having sex in my kitchen. My world shattered at that moment.
I knew it. That sucks, man. What did you do when you saw them? Did you run into your house and kick the crap out of Harry and tell your girlfriend to leave?
Feeling overwhelmed and devastated, I left without being seen.
Oh, never mind. He snuck away and cried. That's a fairly reasonable thing to do considering the circumstances. Listening to your base emotions and flying off the handle at someone could land you in a prison cell. It's better to take a step back and evaluate the situation.
Sitting in my car, tears turned into anger. I decided to punish them and ruin their lives. I parked away from my driveway and called her phone. I told her I was on my way home, and she responded by acting surprised and happy and said she would get changed and wait for me to arrive. I watched from my car as Harry rushed through the gate, half naked, and sped away. I smiled, knowing they had been close to getting caught. After waiting a bit, I drove to the same spot where Harry's car had been. The rest of the night was uneventful, but I couldn't sleep. I went to my office to plan, determined to seek revenge.
I don't know how you kept your emotions under control when you went back home to your girlfriend, especially right after seeing Catherine was so accommodating with Harry in your kitchen.
Despite my pacifist upbringing, I decided to take matters into my own hands and punish them both. Knowing about Harry's secret drug habit, I discreetly reached out to my less reputable contacts to obtain some samples of drugs. After gathering enough drugs, I waited for the right moment. I hosted a barbecue night with friends, and I got Harry drunk and convinced him to stay overnight. In the early hours of the morning, I strategically placed drugs and my personal belongings in and around his car, ensuring he wouldn't find them for months. I also left some drugs and personal items in his house after driving him home, knowing he was too drunk to drive.
You're planting drugs. Holy dooly, you're really going for it then, aren't you? I can see how this will turn out for Harry, but what about your girlfriend? What will you do to get back at her?
A few days later, I staged a break-in by smashing my back door and leaving it open before leaving for a flight. Upon landing, I received panicked messages from my mom, Catherine, and the police. I informed the police I was away on business and would talk to them upon my return. While away, I arranged for Catherine to stay with my parents and installed security cameras and an alarm system. When I got back, I acted shocked and filed a police report, pretending to discover missing items. I had the security company representative explain the camera and alarm system to both Catherine and me. Finally, the moment I anticipated arrived when Catherine asked what happens if we're doing some business and don't want it recorded. She seemed hesitant, but I understood exactly what she was asking.
Yeah, she wants to make sure her rendezvous with Harry doesn't show up on camera where the evidence of her infidelity will be recorded.
The security company assured us it was a common question and demonstrated how to stop recording on specific cameras for privacy purposes. As he was leaving, I inquired if turning off cameras could trigger email notifications for security. He returned to show me how to set up email alerts. Now, all I had to do was wait. I had to go away for work again for a week, and upon returning to my hometown, I set my plan in motion. I asked Harry to approve 1 week of vacation for Catherine in 2 weeks' time, planning to send her on a retreat with friends before making a significant decision. He enthusiastically agreed, unaware of my true intentions. That night, I surprised Catherine by booking a tropical spa resort for her and 2 friends, promising her the biggest surprise of her life upon her return. She was overjoyed and thrilled by the unexpected treat.
Harry probably thinks you're going to propose to Catherine when she returns from her trip. He would have definitely spoken with her about it and had a good old laugh with her about you.
I informed Catherine that in the next week I'd be in the city for preparations for a big client, and I wouldn't be able to see her before she left for her retreat. I kept secret my plan to take a 2-week vacation on the other side of the country, mentally preparing for the upcoming turmoil and enjoying my newfound freedom. After 2 weeks away, I returned on a Sunday and observed Harry's car parked at my house. I checked the cameras, confirming they were asleep in my bed, which I had recorded over the past 2 weeks. I made an anonymous call to the police, reporting suspicious activity involving someone in the alley behind my house, passing items through windows to passing cars and looking into yards, suggesting possible drug dealing or burglaries. I provided his license plate and description, and the police promised to send someone immediately.
The moment has arrived to put your plans in motion.
I called Catherine, pretending to be close to home and wanting to surprise her. Watching the footage later, I found it amusing how chaotic it was. Within seconds, Harry rushed out half-dressed and drove away hurriedly. It was perfect timing as the police car appeared behind me and chased after him. After arriving home, I greeted an excited Catherine, but I couldn't sleep. The next day, she and her friends left in a car for their retreat. After waiting a few hours, I initiated my plan. I called my removalist friend, apologized for the late notice, and asked him to pack and move my place on Friday. I instructed him to take certain boxes to a storage facility. Then I began packing Catherine's belongings.
I get it now. You sent Catherine on the trip so you could clear everything out without her even knowing.
Later that day, the police called me to identify some property they had seized from a suspect that matched my stolen items description. I was pleased with the success of my plan for Harry and agreed to collect the items. However, some of the items were still missing as they were likely in his house, yet to be searched. The news spread quickly in our small town, and Harry faced disgrace and got fired for drug possession and possession of stolen property. The company apologized to me formally on behalf of our respective bosses during the week.
That's 1 down. 1 to go.
That night, I visited my parents, sharing the situation without all the details. I informed them I was moving back to the city after a promotion, but Catherine wouldn't be with me. They were initially upset about being kept in the dark, but appreciated my mature handling of the situation, though they disagreed with ghosting Catherine. We had drinks, laughs, and tears before I returned home. On Friday afternoon, I wrapped up various tasks in my hometown's office, including arranging cleaners and listing my house for rent. I packed my car and said goodbye to my parents before heading to Becky's house. She was a close friend and knew about the situation, except for details about Harry. With her invaluable help, everything was organized swiftly. I handed Becky a folder containing evidence of Catherine's infidelity, a letter, legal documents from my attorney prohibiting contact, and instructions to access Catherine's belongings in the storage unit I rented. After bidding farewell, I drove back to the city.
Catherine is in for one hell of a shock when she returns home from her vacation and finds the house completely empty with nowhere for her to live.
On Sunday, I woke up to numerous missed calls and messages from Catherine. She had returned home early and found the house empty with a "for rent" sign outside. Panicking, she went to my parents, who refused to let her in. Eventually, she contacted Becky, who had a package for her from me. Catherine was furious and accused me of setting up Harry and being deceitful. I worried she might show up at my doorstep, but nothing happened.
Well, Catherine, that's retribution. You shouldn't have been belly-bumping with another man in your boyfriend's bed. There are consequences.
You may be asking why I didn't take more severe action on Catherine, or why I stayed with her for a while. In truth, I considered kicking her out early on, but I decided to gather evidence of her infidelity, to expose her actions and damage her social reputation as she prided herself on being a socialite. After the scandal spread in town, she faced backlash, leading to a transfer to another state, where she was assigned mainly administrative duties. I don't regret what I did. They deserved what was coming to them, and hopefully they've learnt their lessons. I'm now moving on with my life and trying to recover from the hurt of betrayal. It's a long road, but I'm sure I'll get there eventually. Thank you for listening to this story.
I must admit it's satisfying to see cheaters get what's coming to them. What you did with Catherine was spot on, and she got what she deserved. But maybe the revenge on Harry went a little too far. I mean, you planted drugs on him, man, and got him mixed up with the law. I'm sure there could have been other ways to get back at him. For example, if he had a sister, maybe you could seduce her. Or even better, seduce his mother and get married and become Harry's father. Okay, those ideas are kind of lame. You wouldn't want to make Harry a part of your family anyway. But let's just say you did want to seduce someone for revenge. You'd need the skills to woo anyone you desire, and it just so happens I've got what you need for that. Link below. So, what did you guys think of this revenge story? Did he go too far? Do you think revenge on a cheating partner is worth pursuing, or should you just forget it and move on with your life? In my opinion, I think moving on and being as happy and successful as you possibly can is the best form of revenge. Thanks for listening. Leave your comments below and watch my next video. See you all soon. Bye.